our program, please be polite and set all your cell phones to buzzing. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. Bees are some of the most fascinating creatures on the planet. There are an estimate of 20,000 species of bees around the world and 3,600 species of bees in North America alone. Bees are found in every continent except for Antarctica.
The most common types of bees in North America are honeybees, carpenter bees, and bumblebees. Most people think of bees as being social creatures that work together in a hive.
The truth is that only 10% of the world's bee species are social, and even smaller percentage of these bees actually construct hives. The most social of all these bees is a honeybee.
Honeybees live together in large, well-organized family groups. Communication, nest construction, defense, and division of the labor are just some of the behaviors honeybees use to successfully exist in their colonies.
There are 3 types of adult honeybees that live in one colony: the queen bee, the male drone, and the female workers. There is only one queen bee, but there are thousands of workers. You may be wondering, how does one bee become the new queen bee? When a honeybee colony sends a new queen bee, the worker bee begins the process of raising new queen bees.
Nurse bees, with like 10 to 20 newly hatched female larvae, begin feeding them a stripped diet of royal jelly. Royal jelly is a milky white substance that bees secrete from the tops of their heads.
Royal jelly is high in protein, simple sugars, B vitamins, and antibacterial components. This diet of royal jelly turns on the female larva's reproductive system, turning her into a queen.
Once the queen bee chews her way out of the queen cell, she sends a message to the other female larva to fight for the place as queen bee. When she wins, she's queen of the hive.
When the queen bee is ready to mate, she will leave the hive to mate with male drones in another colony. This one-time flight will give her the ability to lay about 2,000 fertilized eggs a day for her entire life. Queen bees live between 3 to 5 years. That means she can lay over 1.5 million eggs in a lifetime. Long live the queen!
Any unfertilized eggs in the queen's colony will become drones. Drones are male bees. They are the smallest group in the colony, and their only job is to mate with the queen. They don't work, they don't make honey, and they can't sting. They usually only live about 8 weeks.
Fertilized eggs that do not become the queen bee will become a female worker bee. All worker bees are female and have stingers. Although they cannot lay eggs, female worker bees perform all of the tasks required to maintain the hive.
They forage for food and nectar, build the honeycomb, carry in water, make wax and honey, fan the hive with their wings to maintain the proper temperature, and even guard the hive against invaders such as wasps. A worker bee's main goal is to protect the queen and to preserve the safety of the hive.
In the words of the Bee Gees, we're just trying to be sure the queen of the hive is
Staying alive!
Did you know that bees are the most studied creature on the planet? We can learn so much about how to be good citizens by studying the behavior of bees.
Bees are excellent communicators. They communicate with special dances that tell the other worker the exact location of that flower. While one bee dances, the other bees watch to learn the directions to the right flower branch.
One kind of dance is the circle dance. If bees do a circle dance, then this means that the flowers are pretty close to the hive. For food that is far away from the hive, the bee gets its waggle dance.
During the waggle, the first bee walks in a straight line, waggling spotting back and forth and vibrating its wings. Then repeats it in the shape of a figure eight. The exact direction of the bee walks while waggling to the other bees where to go.
Bees use the sun as a compass. If the first bee walks in a straight line, then the food is in the direction of the sun. If the dance is pointed to the left or the right, the other bees know to fly at that angle relative to the sun. And the longer the waggle, the farther away the food is.
The dancing bee even smells like the flower patch. The dancing bee will give the watching bees a taste of the nectar she gathered. That smell and taste helps the other bees make a beeline directly to the right flower.
Bees even have a way to communicate danger during the waggle dance. This is called the stop signal. If another bee butts its head against the dancing bee, that means that foraging site is too dangerous.
Bees are highly intelligent creatures too. We know bees are smart enough to make honey, but did you know they're also good at math? In studies, bees have shown strong skills and ability to understand numbers.
Mostly show that bees can count. And even more impressive, bees understand the concept of zero. Zero might seem a simple idea to humans, but the ability to understand that zero means the absence of everything is actually quite hard.
The researchers discovered that bees can identify zero by putting black dots on a white background. Then they would reward the bees with sugar water for choosing a picture with the lowest number of black dots. Bees are so smart that when they were shown a white background with no dots at all, they still recognized that zero was the lowest number.
Bees can solve even more difficult mathematical problems. Researchers discovered that bees can accurately calculate the shortest distance between several locations. Mathematicians call this the traveling salesman problem.
In the study, researchers noticed that at first, bees would fly to the flowers nearest to their hive and then fly to the next closest flower. But they would keep trying new routes to increase their efficiency. If one route was shorter, they kept it. If not, they abandoned it.
After trying about 20 possible routes, the bees were able to select the most efficient path to visit the flowers. This traveling salesman problem is even too complicated for some computers, and so far, bees are the only animals ever known to solve the problem. Who knew bees were so good at math? I thought they were good at spelling bees.
Did you know that you can teach bees to do tricks? In another experiment, bumblebees were actually taught to move a tiny ball to the center of a circle. First, the scientists showed them how they do it by rolling a tiny ball into the center of a circle, just by using a fake bee glued onto a stick.
When the ball reached the center, the scientists awarded the bees sugar water. Once the bees realized that they earned sugar water, they began to move the balls to the center all by themselves. Researchers are still trying to understand the amazing brains of bees, but maybe that's none of this beeswax.
hexagon-shaped beeswax cells that fill the inside of a honeybee's beehive. It is made up of thousands of tiny chambers connected by beeswax where honeybees will store honey for later.
Researchers discovered that honeycomb cells actually start as circles. Then the honeybees heat the wax by separating their flying muscles, spread their wings, and vibrate the muscles to generate heat. By heating the cells, the bees cause the wax to become molten and float like lava.
Once the wax starts flowing, the cell walls naturally flat and take on the shape of a hexagon. A team of researchers have found that each circular-shaped cell changes into a hexagon within 6 seconds.
Honeycombs are nature's perfect design and are the most efficient home of any animal. Each of the little honeycombs is just big enough for one bee to fit inside of it, but it also doubles as a home for their nectar. That's one home, sweet home.
So, if you may ask yourself, why do honeycombs make hexagons, not circles or squares? For one, hexagons are known to be one of the most strongest geometric shapes on the planet, and the edges of these shapes fit together perfectly, leaving the most areas of open space.
If these honeycomb cells were circles, there would be small gaps between each circle, leaving a lot of empty space. The hexagon is the perfect shape to cover every square millimeter of the honeycomb. Honeycombs are the most efficient structure in nature.
The honeybee, however, is not born knowing how to make honey. The younger bees are taught by the more experienced ones. A honeybee visits between 50 and 100 flowers during one collection flight from the hive. Let us go with the honeybee from her flower to the hive and see what happens.
Bees have 2 stomachs. One stomach is for eating and the other is for storing nectar collected from flowers or water. As she sucks the nectar, it is stored in the worker bee's special stomach.
One honeybee flies up to 3 miles from her hive and up to 15 miles per hour just to collect nectar. If she gets hungry while she works, then a valve for nectar stomach opens and some of that nectar passes through her other stomach to give her energy for her own body's needs.
The worker bee is strong. She can carry a load of nectar close to her own weight. This is amazing that even the most advanced aircraft can only take off with the load 1/4 of its own weight. So the honeybees are unbelievably strong.
When the worker bee's nectar sacs are full, she returns to the hive. Then nectar is delivered to one of the honeycomb cells and then is passed mouth to mouth from bee to bee. Each time a new bee digests the nectar, there is less and less water, so the nectar becomes much more sticky.
This process changes the nectar into honey. Finally, the honey is placed in storage cells and covered by beeswax. Once this process is done, the hive is ready for the arrival of newborn baby bees.
Honeybees show us so many traits of good citizenship, like teamwork, determination, responsibility, and loyalty to the hive. Honeybees use hard work and teamwork to accomplish many of their daily tasks.
For example, one honeybee only makes about 1/12 teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. But working together, one bee colony can produce 60 to 100 pounds of honey per year.
This is incredible when you consider to create just 1 pound of honey. It will take over 10,000 bees to fly over 75,000 miles. That is more than 3 times around the world. They will have to visit up to 8 million flowers. Honey, that's teamwork.
Well, it's a darn good life, and it's kind of funny how the Lord made the bee, and the bee made the honey, and the honeybee looking for honey. And they call it a honeycomb, and they all working together with all of the honeycomb, in the one sweet ball, and the honeycomb from a million juice. Made my baby's lips so honeycomb, won't be my baby, well, honeycomb be my home. Gotta hang your hair with a piece of foam, and they walk and talk. Honeycomb, well, honeycomb, won't you be my baby? Well, honeycomb, be my home. What a darn good life when you got a wife like a honeycomb.
Bees are in trouble. Since 2006, bees have been mysteriously disappearing. Across the U.S., a strange thing is happening. Bees are suffering from a mysterious condition where hives are being abandoned.
Changes in agriculture are causing this. Things like wildflower meadows being plowed, hedges being ripped down, and insecticides have all caused bee populations to get smaller.
For example, in the USA, the rusty-pouched bumblebee, a once common species on the brink of extinction, has been declared endangered with populations that decreased by nearly 90%.
7 species of Hawaiian yellow-faced bees have received protection under the Endangered Species Act. And in the UK, some bumblebee species have gone extinct already.
So why should we care? Because bees are responsible for pollinating about 70% of all fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts are consumed on a daily basis. That means every third bite of food that we eat every single day comes from the hard work of a bee doing their job.
So how would bees dying off affect the food you eat every day? If bees no longer existed, we wouldn't have any fruits, vegetables, or nuts.
For example, almonds are used to feed livestock such as cows. If bees died out, then almonds would decline. If almonds decline, there would be less livestock to create milk, cheese, eggs, and meat. Not to mention, almonds are used in cereal, baking, and many other products.
Hey grown-ups, what about your beloved when they kick me up? Coffee. Bees pollinate coffee arabica, which are the seeds and grind to make coffee. If bees become extinct, morning caffeine buzz would be no more. That means the world would have a lot more creepy adults running around.
What about your clothes? Well, bees help us with those too. Most of the clothes we wear every day are made of cotton. Cotton is pollinated by bees. Cotton is not just used in clothing, it's also used in mattresses, towels, and high-quality paper products, and even your underwear.
So what's the lesson here? A world without bees will definitely stink. In fact, May 20th is actually International World Bee Day. It was started by the United Nations General Assembly to raise awareness about bees all around the world. Over 150 United Nations members come together each year to find ways to save the bees.
There are many simple ways that you can help save the bees. One of the best ways to help the bees is to include flowers and shrubs in your garden that are rich in nectar and pollen. If you don't have a garden, you can plant flowers in a few pots around your yard. Never underestimate the importance of what you can do for bees just by planting a few flowers.
You can also help save the bees by eating organic whenever possible. Try to select organic produce as much as you can when you're shopping, even if it's just one item. If you make that decision, we can all make a collective difference.
You can spread a word about the need to help save the bees. You can share some of these bee saving tips with your friends in a neighborhood, or even give a presentation to your class or scouts group of the importance of bees. Together, we can make a difference.
Lastly, let them be. Millions of bees are killed every year because people are afraid of them. If you see a bee, don't kill it. If you come across a wild bee's nest, please try not to disturb it.
If you're concerned about a honeybee swarm or nest, contact a local beekeeper. A bee will cookie that won't kill the bees, but will just move them to another location. Almost all bees will leave you alone if you leave them, so please let us be.
Speaking words
program. We'd like to give a special thanks to Mrs. Camaso for teaching us all the songs and Mr. Cantor for his beautiful accompaniment on the piano.
We'd like to thank Miss for teaching us all the waggle dance moves.
And we owe a huge thanks to our parents for decorating the stage and all the hard work they do for us around our lives to make us happy.
Now we'd like to introduce you to a very busy bee at the Meadows Lower School, Dr. Whitney.
Let's hear it one last time for Mrs. Tam's busy time. Tam herself, thank you. And my brain will be buzzing with all of these amazing feedbacks all weekend. I did want to tell you it's now time for some special recognitions and awards. So first we want to recognize the MAPS basketball team. They went undefeated and came in first in their league. So if you were on the MAPS team, please come forward and stand right along this line. I specifically want to shout out to Caleb Haig, Mason Howard, Evan Kim, Mason McElroy, Alex Russell, and Colton Zahn. Let's give a big Thank you guys. You can go ahead and sit back down with your class. Good job, guys. Next, this spring, some second and fourth graders participated in the national math contest called the Noetic Math Contest. And we'd like to recognize the team winners with a certificate, and they'll also be receiving a medal right here on my arm. So if you hear your name, please come forward to get your medal and your certificate. In second grade, there were several team winners because 5 of them tied for the top score in second grade. First, we want to recognize Claire Tran. Nice work, Claire. Next, we want to, and you can stay right here, Claire. Next, we want to recognize Emma G. Then we want to recognize Nehar Makar. Then we'll bring us down Stephen Zhao. Then last but not least, in second grade, Vincent Hughes. Let's hear it one last time for our birthday. Then we want to recognize our fourth grade winners as well. There were 3 team winners who tied for the top score, and they achieved national honor roll status, which means their scores were in the top 10% of the country. So if you hear your name, come forward. First, Cole Schubert. girls because of those double recognition. Then we'll bring down Evan E. Kim. Last but not least, we have Sadie Levin. Let's have one last really big round of applause.